Hello and a very good morning and welcome to the very first WorldSkills UK live online International Skills Summit. My name is Simon Lederman. I'll be here with you over the next 2 days. Many thanks to all of you for joining us wherever you are in the UK and around the world. This is an unprecedented event in unprecedented times. Some things have changed, of course, this time last year, and the plan would have been this year for us all to be at the NEC in Birmingham for WorldSkills Live. But of course, for obvious reasons, we are virtual. We are COVID compliant. We are physically distanced. However, we would love to hear from you. We are not remote from you. And if you want to raise any questions or put forward your area of expertise throughout these 2 days, we would love to hear your thoughts. You can do so during many of the sessions by filling in your name and your job title and your question on the right-hand side of your screen. The WorldSkills UK International Skills Summit is about creating new opportunities in technical education for young men and women of all backgrounds to ensure that we are a part of a skills-led recovery across the UK. Now, if I can introduce you to the man who is possibly at the heart of that skills-led recovery, welcome to Dr. Neil Bentley Gottman, OBE, who is CEO of WorldSkills UK. It's very good to see you. Thank you for being with us this morning. What are your reflections, before we start talking about the day and 2 days ahead, on where we find ourselves right now?
Well, obviously challenging times all around for everybody over the past few months, and more challenging times, I think, to come, particularly for young people. And I think that's been really what's, brought up everybody's attention, is the impact on the next generation of the COVID pandemic. And so we're seized with the need to be more practical and about helping more young people through the work that we do. And so that's what the next couple of days are all about, setting out how we can go about doing that, because we need to make sure we're helping the next generation in the short term, medium and long term to help them get the opportunities through training and apprenticeships that they need to succeed.
Many thanks. We will, of course, be referring to you throughout the 2 days, and indeed we'll come back to you after we've heard our keynote speaker this morning for some of your reflections as well, Dr. Neil Bentley Gottman, OBE, who is CEO of WorldSkills UK. And now I'm delighted to say we can welcome Gillian Keegan, who's Minister for Apprenticeships and Skills, for her opening keynote speech of the very first WorldSkills UK Live Online International Skills Summit. I'm so relieved I can see your face. Let's hope we can hear your voice. Gillian, good morning. It's over to you.
Good morning, and thank you very much. And it seems to be working incredibly well. I've now been to a number of these online conferences, and this actually seems to be working pretty much the best of all the ones that I've been to. So well done on the tech. Well, good morning to you all. Thanks to WorldSkills UK inviting me to speak about how our skills system can benefit from global insights to build this country back better from the effects of the global pandemic. I'd like to start with a reflection that many of you will share, I'm sure, and it's about how COVID-19 has really accelerated the need for our technical education system to deliver a pipeline of skilled, highly productive workers that support the economy and the economy of today, the 21st century. Whilst the pandemic has caused unprecedented challenge across the country, I've been inspired by the innovation demonstrated by our citizens, schools, colleges, universities, and businesses. And you should all be very proud of what you've achieved in these testing times. I believe that your achievements should fill us with hope as well, that we can not only recover, but we can also build back and become stronger as a nation. And I look forward to hearing more innovative ideas from you all on how we can continue to build back and improve the further education system during the discussions at the WorldSkills UK Online Summit. Well, I first heard of WorldSkills UK through the great work that Christian Notley was doing as the head of furniture studies at Chichester College, which is my local college where I'm an MP. As the WorldSkills UK expert for cabinet making, Christian has successfully devised and delivered a training programme that saw the UK win gold medals at 2 consecutive competitions in 2013 and 2015, and bronze at WorldSkills 2017. And Christian's just one of the many WorldSkills UK training managers who have regularly guided young people to attain international standards of excellence, whilst also utilising his global experiences to continually raise the quality of his and his peers' teaching. And I wish them all good luck at the moment. I know many people are preparing and going through the various stages of the competition. And I've indeed met a couple of the students at Chichester College who are in the middle of that at the moment. The WorldSkills UK Centre of Excellence is now mainstreaming this expertise to form a larger network of Meisters who are capable of teaching excellence in technical skills like Christian. There's lots of Christians all over the country, I'm glad to say. It was great to see the high demand from the sector to access the Centre of Excellence, and it's a testament to the dedication and resilience of colleges that this programme has launched during what I know is a really difficult time. But there is no time like the present, particularly when we really have to step up our skills pipeline and delivery of that. It's been an unparalleled challenge, and I want to pay tribute to the commitment from across the sector to continue to provide high quality education to learners and supporting their transition to the workforce. Of course, the government has its part to play as well. So what is the government doing to improve further education? Creating a highly skilled nation is a priority for this government. It's the only way we're going to bounce back from the economic impacts of this pandemic, which are considerable. In the short time I have this morning, I want to highlight three of the core pillars supporting this government's approach to technical education. The first is prestige. Already the Prime Minister and Education Secretary are challenging outdated views towards technical education and encouraging enrolment and people to take up technical education options. We're rolling out T-levels, we're reforming higher technical education to make it more popular, more prestigious, and also raising the quality of apprenticeships and other qualifications. The second related pillar is quality. This is the cornerstone of our technical education system, and which will only be achieved by properly funding the system's infrastructure. The government is investing in skills with £1.5 billion to upgrade the FE estate, and also up to £290 million, which we've invested in institutes of technology. On top of that, of course, we have a £2.5 billion for a national skills fund, and these investments, this action is essential, but there is much more to do to build a skills system which is fit for the future. Finally, the third pillar is progression. If we are to turbocharge our workforce, we must foster a system that doesn't just offer a great start in life, but supports individuals to upskill in life. We live in a world with fast, ever increasing and ever accelerating technological change, and we need to be able to respond to that. These policies I've mentioned are signalling a shift towards offering citizens a lifetime skills guarantee. This will be necessary to ensure we achieve some of our bold plans, such as bringing all greenhouse gas emissions to net zero by 2050, and also improving the country's infrastructure through major projects like HS2. If our country is to achieve success in these and future large-scale ambitious projects, then we will need an FE system that is fit for purpose and ensures our workforces have a rich supply of highly skilled workers. I'd like to finish with the Secretary of State's words, who he put it best when he stated that for too long, FE had stood for forgotten education. And if we're to change that, we must tackle this absurd notion that you've somehow failed if you don't go to university. And certainly with myself and the Secretary of State, you've got two huge fans of further education, as we are both products of the further education system. The young people and their training managers in Team UK are ambassadors for this message, and they showcase the prestigious career opportunities available through taking up technical and vocational training and education. In 2019, the team made up of 37 young apprentices, trainees, and employees, and they finished 12th out of 63 competing countries, with 19 individuals reaching the world-class standard for their skill. That is something to be extremely proud on, and something also for us to build on. The impact of our work to improve technical education should lead to a much larger number of young people being capable of attaining national and international standards of excellence. Team UK's performance should act as a barometer, the benchmark for progress being made in transforming our further education sector to a world-class standard. By strengthening collaboration between education providers, employers, and leading technology centres, we can galvanise the development of cutting-edge skills provision that will be crucial for boosting productivity and ensuring we are ready for further challenges that our country will face. I want us all to seize this moment and put skills at the forefront of our recovery. Thank you.
Gillian Keegan, many thanks indeed for that. And it's important to hear Gillian's words, Minister for Apprenticeships and Skills. And before we go any further, it's important for me to either remind viewers or perhaps let them know that you were an apprentice yourself. You've been through that system.
I have, yes. I left school at 16 and started an apprenticeship in a car factory in Liverpool. It was what would now be referred to as a rotational degree level apprenticeship. It didn't start off like that, but I went through level 2, then level 4 with a HNC, and then a degree as part of the training. And I think from every perspective, it is from 30 years of working in business and hiring people at the top of international business, it is the best route I have ever seen for people getting on and really learning things that are massively relevant to a business.
And if we can talk a bit about the value that people place on technical education and technical qualifications. You may not remember this, but behind you, you have a poster, which I can only see the bottom half of, which says equivalent to 3 A-levels. And I'm guessing, is that referring to BTEC National Diploma? Perhaps, I don't know.
No, it's T-levels.
Oh, it's T-levels.
T-levels.
Okay, so that kind of messaging must be the type of thing to which you're referring.
Yes, I think, I mean, if you go to lots of other countries, I've worked in many countries around the world, you don't even have to have this discussion. Technical education is the most prestigious education. Certainly in France, certainly in Germany, and certainly in many countries, the technical education is the hard bit, it's the sought after bit, it's the bit that is you know, has the highest prestige. We don't seem to have that brand image, I guess, in this country. And it's because perhaps we have such a complex system as well at times. So T-levels are a very important pillar to have high quality technical qualifications that are bang up to date, have been developed with employers side by side, so that what you're learning is absolutely going to add value from the day you turn up in the workplace, whether that's after finishing your T-level, after going on to a higher apprenticeship, which is a route for people who do T-levels, or indeed going to university and studying a technical degree.
And there's no doubt that this pandemic has changed our lives, but I wonder in an almost ironic way, if one of the impacts of the pandemic, certainly early on, I don't know whether it's still the case now, is a lot of, you could hear them, you could almost sense it, we're waking up and thinking, goodness me, we need skills and I need this to succeed in my business. Perhaps people that we were taking for granted, skills of all level, at the very, very complex end, or the kind of service industry that is equally complex, that is possibly even easier for us to take for granted. Do you think that has changed matters a bit?
Definitely. For the first 6 weeks as Apprenticeship and Skills Minister, which was before the pandemic, every meeting I had was about massive skills shortages in pretty much every sector. Obviously, anything to do with digital and technology, anything to do with health and social care, construction, engineering, teaching, even prison officers. I mean, everybody was coming to me saying, we've got massive skills shortages, and I'm projecting, and it's going to be tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands per sector. Now, obviously, the global pandemic, what it's done is it's accelerated, as I said in my speech, a technology trend that was there already, and it's massively accelerated. Something that probably would have taken 2 to 3 years has basically happened in 6 months. And there's two things that's changed. First of all, it's exacerbated the situation we had in some sectors, so massive skills shortages and even greater skills shortages. Lab technicians spring to mind. Obviously, we've got many more, much more need for those skills. But it's also meant that some of those that we needed to reskill, because some of those wouldn't perhaps have the vast amount of employment options. They'd still be there, but maybe not as bigger employers. We need to more rapidly reskill people and enable them to be reskilled. And that is the core of the challenge. There's another thing that's happened, and I think I see this very clearly. There isn't a business in this country or even an organization in this country that isn't highly technical. Everything we do has, as if we didn't before, we're doing it online. And that's always been the case in many businesses. If you go into any jobs now, you'll be using sophisticated software, sophisticated algorithms. In many cases, you'll be using specific equipment, advanced manufacturing equipment, and it's technology has changed the operating models of nearly everything. So a technical education is at the heart of really getting on and getting those fantastic career options in the future.
A little later in the sessions, we're going to be talking about the importance of digital skills in attracting inward investment. What are your views on twofold? One, the importance of digital skills and how they do affect inward investment.
They are massively important. There's a global shortage of digital skills and software developers in particular. I was having a meeting yesterday, and they reckon globally it's about 4 to 5 million shortage. So what tends to happen, and we've been in this global talent race for quite a while, but what tends to happen is it gets more and more difficult to be able to get those skills unless you have a solid pipeline, growing them yourself, developing them yourself, and also making sure that a broad number of people can access them at different times in their life. So that's really a key driver. And I think most people know now there isn't a job that doesn't involve digital skills. Even a window cleaner needs to advertise probably online. There's virtually nothing that doesn't involve digital skills. So they are key, they are vital, and we just need to give people the confidence as well to operate in this world digitally. Now, in one way, the pandemic has probably helped because it's a must. I've often said to the FE sector, if I'd have asked you to put everything online and be able to give online interactive lessons almost overnight in everything you do, you'd have told me that it was impossible. I'd need to train people. It'd take years, and yet needs must. And the sector did it and did it fantastically. And I think pro to themselves a whole set of new skills that they developed very quickly as well. And that's what we've all done, and many businesses have done. So digital skills, it's almost insatiable demand for digital skills.
And just lastly, because I know we're almost out of time, I'm not going to put you on the spot necessarily for a government position, but one of the reasons I'm asking this is because so many people have been thinking about it and probably reflecting about this over the last few days in the decision of Wales to postpone or indeed cancel GCSEs, AS and A-levels for 2021. What are your reflections on that? Because there will be many people, not just in the FE sector, but many young people watching who will be thinking, is there a steer for England? Are we definitely going to follow Wales? Are we definitely not going to follow Wales?
Well, I think we've been very clear. First of all, it is a difficult decision. I think there's no doubt it's a difficult decision. But we've been very clear that there isn't a fair alternative, actually, to exams. And whichever system you put in place has got its challenges, but we've set out very clearly that it's very, actually a lot of young people, you can see by the amount of resets that people are doing, they really want to do their exams, they want to prove what they've learned, they want to have something that, is what everybody else has got, which is their, exam results, their certificates, etc. So what we're doing is very much the opposite really to Wales, which is we're going to obviously make some adjustments, and those things are being discussed right now, but exams will go ahead because we think that's the best of all the alternative systems in place. But I do acknowledge that it is a difficult decision because clearly there is uncertainty whilst we're still living through a global pandemic. So that is incredibly difficult.
Can I thank you for your time this morning, Minister? Can I thank you for connecting to the call and also for joining us, and everybody watching both in the UK and around the world? Wish you all the best for your day ahead, whatever horrors or surprises or delights that may well have in store for you. Thank you for joining us live this morning.
Thank you.
That is Gillian Keegan, Minister for Apprenticeships and Skills, and also, for those in that area, Conservative MP for Chichester. This is the very first WorldSkills online International Skills Summit, and it's a delight to be with you throughout all of the sessions other than a couple, and we'll let you know when those sessions arrive. You're able to pose your questions to either the panel, who we will hear from in various sessions during the day, or indeed to Dr. Neil Bentley Gockman, OBE, who joins us in the studio, who's CEO of WorldSkills UK. It may be you have a question based specifically on something that you're hearing coming out in our debates. It possibly is because you have a question that is based on your area of expertise and you're simply thinking you have a thought that no one else is addressing. You can do this. You can raise your questions by placing it on the right-hand side of the screen. There's a button there which says ask a question. The one thing we will ask of you, the only thing we will ask of you alongside your question, is if you can make sure we have your name and your job title so we can refer to that when your question is being answered. But that is on the right-hand side of your screen. Neil, it's interesting the words we heard from Gillian there, particularly upbeat, clearly understanding the challenges ahead. What are your reflections on what you heard and what you saw this morning?
Yeah, well, I think what Gillian was talking about, particularly around the core themes that they're working on around making the FE system, skill system more prestigious, driving quality as part of that. That's also at the heart of what we're about at WorldSkills UK. So it was reassuring to hear that in one sense, but also motivating as well in terms of what we're trying to do at WorldSkills UK and why we're having this conference today and tomorrow, which is really about, I guess, setting a new ambition for ourselves and saying we need, through our work, to be engaging more and more young people, firstly, and mainstreaming our work so that the training that we do to a world-class standard that Gillian was referencing is really spread out to more young people, and we're giving more and more young people access to that. And that's all about driving up quality. And that will, driving up quality, mainstreaming excellence, making sure younger people are having a higher standard of technical education or apprenticeship. That's what all of our work is about increasingly, and making sure that we give access to as many young people as possible. Because over the next couple of days you'll be hearing from employers that we work with on their apprenticeship schemes, colleges we work with on boosting training standards, and our international partners, and learning from what's going on in the rest of the world and how we can embed some of that thinking and innovation into what we're doing in the UK, because we all share the same goal. And I'm sure people watching and listening are agreeing with what the Minister is saying, and wanting hopefully to work more with us to help more young people get the chance to succeed, and make sure that the standard of education that they're getting is setting them up for a better start in work and life. And so, I was really pleased to hear what Gillian was saying. And of course, we're open to working very closely with the Minister and all of our partners in education, governments around the UK, and with business to help drive that goal.
One of the things we heard from Gillian Keegan is she used that expression which I sensed really chimed with you, which is that FE used to stand for forgotten education. And one of the things I suppose we have to consider is that the government have huge numbers of priorities on their list, of which FE, technical skilling, of ensuring there is a skills-led recovery are just but a part. Do you feel confident that the government gets it, that you're high up on that list of priorities?
Yes, I do, and that's because, as Gillian was referencing, the Secretary of State is talking about it, but not just that, the Prime Minister gets it as well. And that is setting a really clear signal that for an economic recovery, COVID recovery, a skills-led recovery, we need a skills system that is going to drive up standards and help make the economy not just recover, but be more competitive and more productive. I mean, there was an announcement yesterday from Number 10 with the Department for International Trade looking at a new office to attract more inward investment coming into the UK. Now, that's really important because that inward investment is about creating and maintaining jobs. And key to that, every year EY does a survey of inward investors, and what they're crying... Ernst & Young, yes. And what they're crying out for is high quality skills. So skills is at the heart of what the country needs to be doing, upskilling and making sure we're driving up standards in our skills provision. Because those high quality skills are what investors and employers need right across the UK. So I feel really confident that with our encouragement and the whole sector getting behind the government and governments across the UK to make sure we're all driving this quality and prestige agenda, will make sure that this remains at the top of the country's agenda, because it's not just about the economy as well, it's about young people, and it's about communities, and it's giving young people a better shot in life, and it's helping older people as well retrain for the changing economic landscape that's coming. So for all of those reasons, I think that skills is at the heart of what the government wants to do, building new infrastructure, HS2, new nuclear power stations, going more digital, but also climate change agenda as well, and going net zero. We need new skills and young people and others to see opportunities in new industries as well. And the FE system and skills system can be at the heart of driving all of that change.
Those are Dr. Neil Bentley, Gottman OB's reflections on what we heard from Gillian Keegan. Of course, Neil is CEO of WorldSkills UK. We'd love to hear some of your reflections too. Do you feel that you have confidence that the government understands it? What are your thoughts about what Gillian Keegan told and addressed the summit this morning? You can let us know your thoughts, or indeed some of your questions based on some of the areas that Gillian raised. You can just pop a question by typing it in to the right hand side of your screen, and we will address those either to Neil during this session or indeed to panel members into the future. And it's important that you know, that we know that the government are watching this. So if you've got a message or a thought that you would like to be seen at the highest levels of authority, this is probably as good a forum as any so far during this remarkable 6, 7, 8 months that we've all been through. Talking of that period, the last time we met, we were not physically distanced, we were not COVID compliant because we didn't need to be. We were in Kazan for WorldSkills 2019, which seems a remarkable distance away, and we already know that 2021 has had to been postponed. We are in a very different place.
Yeah, for sure, and that was an amazing high point, and it was great to hear Gillian reference that and the success of Team UK at the Skills Olympics in Russia last year. But as you say, yes, we're in a very different place, but that means that has given us opportunities to do new things. And so this year, while unfortunately we've had to stop what we were planning to do around the competition cycle and drive forward our regional and national heats you referenced earlier. Normally we'd be at the NEC looking at our national finals, the culmination of our national competition cycle, but we're not doing that. And instead what we're doing is we have continued to engage young people who registered to take part in that competition-based training program. 3,000 young people. We've been doing master classes with them, giving them digital resources to ensure they keep going with their training and their skills development and their confidence building. But also we've been doing new things like this conference, bringing more to the fore the work that we're doing internationally, so that can help shape thinking in policy, but as well as practice in terms of what we can learn in driving up standards. Later this month as well, we're going to be revisiting our work on careers advice with BAE Systems in a 3-day event, which is looking at spotlight on careers and helping more parents and young people understand the prestigious and high quality opportunities there are from following technical education and apprenticeships. And also we continue to drive forward our work on diversity and inclusion. Normally at the NEC we'd be having a celebration and an awards ceremony to celebrate our partners who are working to make sure that young people from all backgrounds are getting opportunities of apprenticeships and high quality technical education. So we're doing all of that online for the first time. But that's fantastic because we're able to reach more young people, I think, and more partners by doing it online. And also, as Gillian referenced, for the first time this year, in the middle of the pandemic, we set up a brand new Centre of Excellence in partnership with the NCFE. And that's all about mainstreaming our training know-how. The training that we do with our training managers who train young people to a world-class standard. That's about really practically bringing that know-how into colleges so that we can upskill teachers, trainers and assessors, and that they can help some 40,000 young people over the next couple of years get a higher quality education. And that goes to the heart of really what we're talking about over the next 2 days. It's bringing back our know-how from international competition, from our partners internationally, and really making a practical difference, setting a new ambition for us to engage more young people and to help develop more young people and to drive up standards in technical education and apprenticeships.
And before we close this session, we should talk about the WorldSkills UK and the report that you've published on skills excellence. Just before we do that, I have some, obviously you can, as I mentioned, put questions through to either the panel as the day goes forward, or just place some of your reflections on the record that we can establish during the sessions over the next couple of days. This is one such. Christopher Butler, the City of Liverpool College. Mm-hmm. And Christopher says mental health issues have got much worse in the FE and HE sector. And Christopher wonders how WorldSkills UK are taking this into account. Indeed, he says WorldSkills, I imagine, as the global entity. I think one of the things that we have learnt above all during lockdown, the arrival of the pandemic, the various issues that people have had, some disastrous issue with businesses closing their own jobs, being at risk. We've all learned that mental health is now of huge concern should be concern to everybody.
Absolutely, and great question from Christopher, and great to put a spotlight on that. So through the training that we've been doing in any case with particularly our international competitors, we have a whole program on mindset and mental health, which is about strengthening mental health and resilience. We've also for the first time put mental health modules into our careers advice toolkit, which are downloadable from our website. We're doing more mental health and mindset digital programs, which will be available to download earlier in the new year. So it's a huge focus for us, and because we know that in order to succeed, you don't just have to be technically great in your skill. You've also got to have the right mindset to succeed and the resilience to succeed.
Confidence.
And absolutely, confidence and self-confidence. And so we put a huge amount of focus and resource and effort into make sure the young people we're working with get that balance right between the technical skills and the mindset skills. It's massively important to us, and it's also a real sign of young people's success.
I have a suspicion that we will be returning to mental health and resilience during the 2 days, and if you've got any reflections on how either your organisation, your business, the apprentices that you work with, however you are dealing with this growing concern about all of our mental health, we would love to hear some of those reflections from you. And again, you can do in the same way that we heard from Christopher, just on the right hand side of your screen. And before we finish this session, we've only got a couple of minutes left, Neil. As I mentioned, WorldSkills UK launched a new report last week about skills excellence. And skills, of course, says it in the name, is in the heart of what we're doing here.
Absolutely. So last week with I think about 10 of our partners, we asked them to set out their thinking on the importance of skills excellence and the importance of driving up standards and improving quality. And you'll be hearing from some of them over the next day. So Anne Milton, who's up this morning, wrote for us about her experience of seeing WorldSkills in Abu Dhabi in 2017 and the importance for that for the UK skills systems, but also from BAE Systems and Toyota, and David Gallagher, who's the Chief Executive of NCFE, who will also be speaking. And that's about setting out a stall from us as WorldSkills UK in saying, this is part of our new ambition. We know from our research from Oxford University, and again, you'll be hearing from the lead researcher who did this work with us, that there's a huge and important focus on competence in a lot of technical education apprenticeship. But in order for the UK economy and employers to be able to compete internationally, we have to drive up the standard to excellence. That's what other countries are doing. And so we were inviting our partners to give us their thoughts on excellence and what it means to them. And you can download the report from our website to read it yourself. But it's really about setting that new ambition, I think, that we need to be more ambitious on standards. We need to be more ambitious on quality. We, through our work and our partners, are up for that and making sure that we're mainstreaming it so more young people get access to those opportunities, because that's really at the heart of what the economy needs and the country needs, I think, to be able to not just survive what we're going through at the minute, but to flourish and succeed in the future.
And just briefly, for want of a better expression, this idea of trying to, I don't want to, I'm going to use this expression, it's on the top of my head, to rebrand technical skills as something that makes sense to everybody. When we spoke to Julian Keegan, it was clear there was a different understanding amongst the wider population of the importance of having technical skills, but it is about raising the value that they have in the eyes not of you and not of those people who invest their time in creating and developing their technical skills, but of the wider public?
Well, the wider public, I think, get it. I mean, some opinion polling that we did with Census Wide a couple of weeks ago shows that 3/4 of people surveyed said they value and want to see the government prioritising high quality technical education and apprenticeships. So I think a lot of people are thinking about, how their education, the educational opportunities that their children and young people they care for are going to be getting, what's the best route for them. And they're looking at higher education and university. They're also increasingly looking at college, technical education and apprenticeships. And we're seeing that, I think, in people's mindsets, a rebalancing from what the government used to call a knowledge economy to what I think we should be focused on creating is a skills economy and getting the balance right between knowledge and skills. And I think it's technical education and skills and driving up skills that, as you mentioned earlier, coming so to the fore through the pandemic, that skilled workers and skilled work needs to be more highly valued. We're seeing that through the pandemic, and we know that we need to maintain that focus, I think, to give more young people the opportunities to make the most of their skill set and their own mindset to be able to achieve success. And that success will be the heart, I think, of the UK success.
Neil, many thanks. Thank you for being here for our opening session of the very first WorldSkills UK live online international skills summit. Now, we are going to be back at 11:15 with our next session, but in the meantime, please let us know your thoughts and reflections about what you've heard so far, about what you heard from Gillian Keegan in her keynote opening address to the summit, and you can do so, as I've said, on the screen on the right hand side. Just type in your question. Just please make sure we know who you are and your job title. And coming back at 11:15, we will be in conversation with Shane Mann, who's Managing Director of LSECT, and he will be in his own right in conversation with the Right Honourable Robert Halfon MP, who is the Chair of the Education Select Committee, and also the Right Honourable Anne Milton, former Skills Minister, as you heard Neil mention and refer to just a few moments ago. And before that, at 11 o'clock, we invite you along with us to commemorate with a 2-minute silence Armistice Day to mark the 11th hour on the 11th day of the 11th month when the guns on the Western Front fell silent for the final time. We will remember for 2 minutes those who died in 2 world wars and conflicts since as they gave their lives for this country. We'll see you again soon.